Welcome to Solid Motion VFX. Today we'll be looking at the asset FPS engine, which is a first-person shooter. As you all know, I've been working with a third-person shooter, specifically in Vector, for a long time. But recently I was looking to up my game with using an FPS. I've been really into that genre here lately, and I've been searching a lot on the internet and looking at different forums on the asset store as well. And I ended up looking at this specifically asset called FPS engine from Kausen, and I can guarantee you guys, this is your number one stop. This is awesome. This is incredible FPS engine. You get everything from advanced player movements to a potent weapon control creation system. Very powerful asset. There's so many things you can do with this. So this is the default demo scene here. You get some nice instructions on the wall here. Be aware that this is a beta, so right now it's currently version 0.99, and I think I got it at 0.98. So definitely this asset is being developed and improved all the time. The creator is responsive on the Discord and on private mails. You get a world-class support with this asset for sure. So let's see here. Let's take a look at the different weapon types we have here. Press E to pick up the gun. Burst rifle, bazooka, and some icons here. And scrolling your mouse will switch weapon. If you hold the shift down there, you will of course run. Everything is explained up in this the Q section here. Very powerful stuff. Let's see here. Let's loot. And you can of course integrate this with your system so you can get anything you want. I have everything to 100%. Coin system. Door system as well. Health pickups. Hurt system. This way you will learn how to you can deal damage to your player. Here you can see it's the point capture. Really nice. We already have ammo here, so no need for that. Now I added in 2 Blaze AI enemies. Just simple melees. Of course I can leave a description for that if you want to see how to set that one up. What I have to tell you that you have to set up your capsule collider and the height. So you can see very high is very huge compared to the enemy standards. So if we go in and find our enemies, just look at the difference here. You can already see that, right? So let's go in and adjust that. Go into your player controller, and it has to be the capsule collider you have to look at. This one. So right now, lower that a little bit here, and then go to the head section and just take the head down as well when you get to that, and you can see that approximately here, like so. So 1.5 on the head, and let's see on the capsule collider we have 1.3, 1.5, 1.3. Okay. So go back here. Yeah. Now it's exactly the same height. Okay. So that's pretty cool. And now to be able to, for the enemy to detect you, of course, you have to have the tags on. So ensure that you have the correct layer on. So for your player here, and the way this controller is built up is there's different parent game objects. So scroll down to this play object here where you have the capsule collider on. Ensure that the layer is set to player. No, just this object. Yeah, now they're coming and searching for me. You see that? The same here when they see it. So first of all, on my enemy zombies here, For this FPS engine, there's a health component, an enemy health component that comes with it, and this one, enemy health. So on this one, you can actually do a couple of things. You can give your AI a name up here if you want, and also you can set the max health here. And this will of course take damage from the bullets, from the hit scan or the projectile, depending on which bullet type you are choosing from your main player. You can also put a shield value in here. Show the UI if you want to have a health, slider above. You have to, of course, create that your own health color. Then there's a damage pop-up that comes along with it. That's pretty cool as well. This show kill feed is pretty cool. That's the one that's going to show the name when you kill an enemy. So let's check that out. Before we check that out, you need to go in and show that right now the bullet damage on the enemies are not that they are that low. The damage per bullet is set pretty low. So let's ensure that we can kill them faster. So go into your player again, and then open up your weapon controller. And in the controller here, you will see what your initial weapons is and what your weapon inventory is. So right now there's nothing, you don't start with anything. If you put in something here, you'll actually start with a weapon. So if you just click a slot here and then open up and say, let's start with, let's say the SMG, this one. And for the SMG, it's a scriptable object. You go into the SMG and then you have different tabs here. You can set up for the shooting part. We'll make sure that on the stats, damage per bullet set to 10. Let's do that to 40. Actually, let's just do 50. Okay. Now I start with this SMG weapon. If I go ahead now, 1, 2, 3, he died. See, that was the show kill feed in the middle. 1, 2, 3, and he died as well. In this enemy health component as well, if we go in, it's pretty simple. The only thing I do here is basically I will comment out on the public virtual void here. When he dies, I don't want the game object to be destroyed, so I just go in and comment that out. Otherwise, the component will go in and actually destroy the game object, and then you won't be able to play your death animation. Okay, that's the only thing I did there. Now, in order for actually to be able to kill or take damage on the Blaze AIs, you have to go into your player and go into the weapon controller, which is this one. On the weapon controller, that's where you're going to do most of the stuff. So on the weapon controller, there's a lot of stuff you can do in here. And also it's going to show you what kind of decals it shows on, depending on which layer you're shooting on. For example, if it's enemy or metal, then it's going to spawn a decal on the shooting point. But what we want to go and look at here, it's how to deal damage. So you have the different handling of shooting here, but we go down to hit scan here. So private void, hit scan shot, this one, right? So what I do here is, here's the physics raycast out, and here's my little script here, or the little few lines I'm writing in to hit the blaze. If my collider with my hit scan is hitting something with a component that says blaze eye on it, then I'm gonna do a couple of things. First of all, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go in that blaze eye component and look for the enemy health component, which is part of the FPS engine. And then I'm gonna look at the max health. I'm gonna subtract the damage per bullet. So this damage per bullet equals to this one, damage per bullet here. And that is of course different on the different kind of weapons you have. So whatever you set here will be the same here. So that's pretty important if you want those to add up. So I just say subtract damage per bullet. Then I'm gonna of course say I'm gonna hit my Blaze AI. I'm now gonna play the hit method where I have my different animations, and when I hit, it's the AI will turn for the hit direction, for the hitter direction, which is my main player here. Okay, that's just transform. That's to transform my reference. Then I'm also looking at my enemy health when that max health goes below 0 or equal. If it goes below or equal to 0, then I'm gonna play the death method here on my AI. That was with the hit scan. If you're looking for the projectile shot, so if you're using a prefab to shoot with, then it will be below this line here. You can hit something, and I actually are using a grenade. So when my grenade hits, I'm gonna invoke another method here where it's gonna go in and ensure that my AI gets blasted and die instantly. Okay. If we go down to the switch layers here in the private void, hit. Here you can see different layers that you will be hitting on. So grass, metal, mud, wood. And here's the enemy. I went down and just commented out this part here because I don't want to instantiate any bullet hole impact on my enemies. I just want to play only the blood splatter. So I get that from up here, but I don't want the bullet impact. So I just comment that part out. So if I hit the wall here, you can see here, this is the bullet impact, right? There will be a enemy blood impact if I had that enabled, but I didn't do that. So I just want the blood, as you see that. Okay? That's pretty cool. Also, on my shooting here, you have this critical damage multiplier. So I have the critical damage multiplier set to 2 multiplier on the damage per bullet here, meaning that if I go into my zombie, and by the way, he's set up as a ragdoll. If I open up the root and go to the head, you can see on the head, I set the tag to critical. And you can set the other part if you want to body shot, which is part of the FPS engine here. So here, with body shot, that would be the normal damage per bullet. But when you set a tag to critical, then it means actually you can do instantly dead or instantly headshot and play animation as you want. Alright, so how to hurt the player, okay? So best thing is to look at the different components that comes with the FPS engine. So in this case, there's a component called hurt trigger. If you go and zoom on that, there's this item here. So when the player enters this area, it's gonna deal damage to the player. And basically, it's a very simple script. If you're gonna look at it, it references to the namespace cousins, and then on trigger enter, it's gonna say if the compare tag is player, then it's gonna get this component player stats, which is a component on the player, and it's gonna deal the damage. So of course you have to set what you want to deal as damage yourself here. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So for my zombies here, I made a hitbox on his right and left hand. So here and here. So these 2 hitboxes, and I've made them on trigger. So they only be enabled when they are hitting. And of course I went into, made some animation event. So on the actual attack from the Blaze AI, you can see that I have different animation events here. So if we play, right here is disabled, and here when he's supposed to hit, he's hitting, and when I'm hitting it, I'm enabling the hitbox and I'm calling it Z hitbox. And when I'm not hitting it, I'm just saying no hitbox. These are the 2 animation events, the function names. So on the zombie itself, I made a script called zombie hitbox, and I'm referencing these 2 hitboxes. Alright, so let's go back to the player to see how this will actually work, how to deal the damage. So on the zombie itself, I created a little simple script called zombie hitbox, which basically just goes in and enable and disable 2 hitboxes, which are referenced here. And I made those on his hands. So if we look at this, these are the 2 hitboxes I have here. And on those, it's just a box collider and it's a trigger. And then on these hands, I have a take damage. Okay, so let's look at the script. For the actual zombie hitbox, I just go in and make a public reference to the actual hitboxes. And on start, I'm just gonna make them to be false, so not enabled. And then depending on my animation event, when I want them to be enabled, I'm just gonna set them to true. And when I'm not supposed to hit my player, I'm just gonna set them to false like this. Okay, that's pretty easy. And that's this script here. Now let's look at the script on the actual hitboxes here. This is called take damage by Z. So for the take damage script, it's really simple. You just make a namespace reference here to the cousins. Put a damage into here, how much you want to be able to deal the damage. Go back to the hurt trigger. Copy out this line here. And just put it in here. And because we're using a col, then you can just delete all this and say col get component. So when we're gonna hit our player, we're gonna go into the player stats. We're gonna deal the damage method, and we're gonna take this amount of damage which we are putting up here. So let's see how this works out. Yeah, there it is. Now she's hitting me. Now let's see how this asset actually works also on a blank scene here, because there is a few things you need to consider here. There is a few things you need to do. Basically, go into the Cousin asset here. Then to get a player in, you just go down to, let's see, prefabs, and then player controllers. And then on the Cousin, you have different 3 different options here. I'll just check the first one, drag him in, add him to the scene. So now he's right there with all his components on it. But on the floor itself, okay, this is important. The default floor we just put in here, it has a mesh collider. The layer sets to default. When you go into the player, you will see that under player movement, if we expand here, movement, you can see here what is ground. So right now, default is not part of the ground, right? So either enable that or go into your plane and just set the ground here. Okay? And another thing also important here is go into your mesh collider, and for the material, you need to actually set the physical material which comes with the FPS engine here. So in this case, ground, like so. Yep. And we are moving around. And when we're running, you can hear the footsteps. So this is working. Okay. Another question I also see, it's how to enable these weapons. So remember, right now the inventory is set to 2, meaning you can only set the initial weapons to 2 as well. If you want more, just change this number here. But initial weapons, just open your scriptable objects here and then give him a weapon. So let's take the shotgun here. So now he starts with the shotgun, and because we have inventory 2, you can set 1 more if you want. In this case, let's just take the pistol, like so. So now we have the shotgun, and if you want to scroll your mouse wheel, you'll switch to the pistol. Okay? Jump as normally. So that's how you put in your weapons here. It's also in the weapon controller. You can see what your reference is from the camera, the weapon holder. You can also go in and see for the variables hit layer, which layers you'll be able to hit. And this is also what we saw in the actual script, the weapon controller script, which you can add in there, right? Crosshairs on, you can remove that here if you want. Then you have these different melee ranges and melee delay, attack damage, what you want in here. Effects, again, these comes built in with the FPS engine. Events, if you want to hook up events, you can do that here as well. On shot, on reload, on finish, pretty cool stuff. Custom shot, you can use that if you want actually to use other things than weapons, or for example a laser beam or draggable objects by a weapon, or even a radar scanner and whatnot. So here on the player stats, you can actually change the health of your player, put in a max shield, fall damage, put on a damage, fall damage, pretty self-explanatory. Events, again, what happens on death, on damage, on heal, you can do that all in here. And then you have the interact manager as well. You can see how long the distance should be between, you can actually pick up stuff, and also there's events hooked up to that as well. Okay? There are different ways of creating a weapon. You can either copy one scriptable object and then go in and just change that, as well as the prefab and the animator, and then you can just change and put in your own weapon there, or you can create one from scratch. So let's try to create one from scratch with this Cousins here. So of course I have this asset called Hands Weapons Animation Pack Update. It comes with some pretty cool models here. We're going to the prefabs. You can see which kind of weapons I have here with this asset. Candles, grenades, machine guns, I have sniper, I have axe, I have crossbow, and so on. So different cool stuff here. Okay, I think we will try with this shotgun today. Okay, so go into the Cousins here, go in and create a scriptable object first, weapons, right click, go to create, and then Cousins, new weapon. Let's call this shotgun Haru. Okay, and then let's log it here. Let's give it a name again. Shotgun Haru. And go to the shooting and give it whether you want to shoot style should be hit scan, projectile, melee, or custom. I'm just gonna go with hit scan here. Okay, so just go in and fill how you want them in here. So 1.3 bullet range is a shotgun, so I'll just say 60 here. Bullets per fire, we'll say 4. Time between shots, 0. Remember, you can hover your mouse over the different text and get a little tooltip. Okay, ammo per cost, set it to 1, and it's a shotgun, so we want it to be spread out a little bit, not too much, so maybe 0.07. And let's see here, what do we want here? Penetration amount, apply recoil. So penetration amount, let's just set it to 12. Damage reduction, let's set it to 0.9. Sorry, let's set it to 0.8 on the penetration damage. Okay, let's go to the stat. Magazine size, let's say 4. And damage per bullet, this is a shotgun, let's say 50 here. Okay, critical damage multiplier, yes, 1.5. Reload style, we're just gonna keep it at default, and the reload time, let's set it to 3. Allow aim, yes, do allow aim, and I'm just gonna go with the defaults here. And let's see, set movement speed while aiming, yes, and we set it to 6, like so. Apply a little bit of weight, and you can see what that is. Velocity will be decreased depending on the weight of the weapon, if this is true. And we'll just set it to 1.2 here. Okay, so for the visual, do we want a camera shaker mount? Yes, we want just it's a shotgun, right? So of course we want something there. Field of view effect on shooting, yes please. And show bullet shells, yes. Then in here you can just go in and fill out these. Okay, after you set those up, go to your audio, and just if it's pretty self-explanatory as well here, just put in your different audio types in here. Okay guys, that was the audio. Let's go to the UI. So crosshair, you can set it to whatever you want the size to be when it's resizing. I'm gonna set it to 40, and let's see, I'm gonna take a preset here, and I'm gonna choose the no top part crosshair, this one. Okay, now let's go back to the Causen. This was the scriptable object we made. Now we go into the prefab section, weapons, and then you're gonna go with this. There's a weapon blank template here you can use. So just make a copy of that, and let's call it shotgun how prefab. Open it up. So you have this cube. This will be an approximate size of where you actually want your weapon to be. Okay, so I'm gonna lock this, and then I'm gonna go into my assets, prefab. Let's go down to the shotgun. Here it is. Drag it up and then put it under meshes right there, and then on the rotation, let's 90, and then put it approximately here, and then you can of course disable or just delete the cube. You will be a trial and error here, because you will need to go in and adjust it for the camera view. So while we have it here, what we're gonna do is also make a fire point. So go to your hand shotgun, add component, and we're gonna right click on your hand shotgun and say empty, and call it fire point or whatever we want, and then just make sure that this fire point adds up to the end of the barrel. This will be where the shots and the muzzle flash will come from. Here, so I like that. With this asset, remember, your animator will go on your actual weapon component, weapon prefab. So up here I have the parent here, shotgun prefab. Here I don't need my animator, so I will go in and delete that. So I only have this one animator here. Okay, now let's go back to Causens. Go back to the scriptable objects. Check the shotgun. Now as you can see, a weapon object, we need to put in that weapon object we just created. So go back to the prefabs, weapons, and then your shotgun, this one, put it up here and weapon object. So that's there right now. Cool. Now go into your animator. Now go into your cousins. Now we need to create the animator. So go into animations, weapons, and then again blank weapon here, animator controller. Control D to make a copy, and then call it whatever you want. I'm gonna shotgun Haro animator like this, and go here and drag it over there to your prefab weapon. So shotgun here, put it over just like that, and then lock this animator here. I have this animator window ready. Here you need to put in all the animations you want. Okay, so that's the fun stuff. Go back now to your weapons, animations, go to your models, and shotguns are here, and animations. Okay, so for the idle, I'm gonna highlight the idle here, and then just drag the idle from here, aiming idle, put that over here. You can see how the animation is. So go to shot and then aiming shot, put that over here. So remember for your idle, run and walk also to go in and make sure that the loop time is enabled. So apply that, run, apply that, idle, loop time enable, like so. Cool. So now I have these different here, and also I'm gonna make sure that on my shot here, so on transition, I'm gonna put in an exit time of 0.7, and on the transition duration I'm gonna put that to 1, like so. So on scriptable object, if you go back to the shotgun scriptable object, you can also set the icon of a shotgun. We can just use the one that's already created, or you can go into Photoshop and make your own. Let's just put this on. Okay, and then if you go back here to your player, and then on the weapon controller, now you need to add it in your weapons, of course. So the one you just created, shotgun Haro, this one, and then also bump up your inventory to 3 and put in your shotgun Haro, like so. Now go back to your prefab weapon here, weapons, the one we just created, the shotgun Haro, this one, and make sure that of course the fire point is set correctly. So if we go in and let's see here, open up, right now it's the old fire point. Remember, set in your new fire point. And now for the scriptable object, cousins, go back to your hand shotgun to the top here, and then just add in your scriptable object, shotgun Haro, this one, and here it is. And this is what I meant with, you have to play a little bit here, so it's a trial and error. So go back here, while you have this scene up here, go into the hand shotgun and just move it a little bit to the back, and maybe then to the right. Let's take it again, and if we go ahead, we can see the animations are there while he's running. Shoot, and his left arm could come a little bit back, so let's just move a little bit more back to the back. Cool. Yeah, and as we see, we don't see any arms here because we have set the layer to weapons. So that's one of the fixes that we'll do, and make sure that both the muzzle flash will be instantiated at the correct spot, and also make sure that your guns or your arms won't be visible from any light source casting. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So again, guys, this is really one of the best FPS engine asset I ever encountered. I definitely recommend this, and I will be using this going forward for a long time before I go back to TPS. So I will definitely encourage you to also try this one out. It's currently in beta, but it's getting evolved all the time. And as I said, the Discord is very, very active. He will listen to you and take requests on further upgrading and implementing whatever new bugs or whatever you need in there, and implementing whatever new features you might have. So definitely go on to this one, guys. The roadmap looks good. That's Trello roadmap as well for this one. So thank you for watching and sticking along. See you on the next one, guys. Bye.